and Trace are on the show today. We wanted to start a new chat segment. We're going to call it Hot Tea, spilling the tea, something about tea. Thanks to both of you for being here, because that's what we're going to get into, the tea. So I want to get both of your thoughts on sort of a little bit of cancel culture, but specifically voicing pain without causing more pain. So actress and activist Jameela Jamil shared on her social media, this is what she said: "The last 3 years I've been on a journey to reflect and atone for toxicity I took part in my attempt to fight for justice. My intentions were good. My choice of words weren't. I helped a lot of people, but I also alienated and hurt a lot of people by the way I went about my fight, which is counterproductive." I love that she has brought this up. You and I, Teri, have been talking about the meanness that we feel in society, in media. There's sort of a bit of a race to the bottom when it comes to conversations these days. People don't pull their punches. They swear when they're angry at politicians. Politicians swear when they are angry about things. And I remember in this city particular, we had a mayor who went to town. Every single scrum, there was always a nugget. And it really was, to me, the devolution of discourse. Like, we never used to speak that way publicly. And what is it indicative of? Is there a way to be angry without spewing things out in a way that is toxic? And that's what we're going to talk about right now.
Yeah, I think that what we're hearing from Jameela is a bit of like hot take regret.
Yes.
You know, she's looking back on how she's participated in things that she believes in.
Yeah.
But instead of taking the conversation to a way that is positive and moving something forward in kind of a positive way, she realizes that maybe she said some things that she regrets. She's made things personal when maybe things aren't personal. And I think that that has happened when everybody has a phone, a social media, and there's this notion of wanting to get in on the conversation. And these conversations deserve and require thought.
Yes.
And so I think that that's what we're hearing from Jameela, and I like it. I think that we all need to take a breath every once in a while, and when something is happening, whether it be, you know, most recently we saw Amy Schumer post a picture of Nicole Kidman with a criticism of how she was sitting, and that took a whole, you know, day in the press cycle. And I think that, you know, let's stop commenting on individuals.
Right.
Let's start commenting or continue commenting on actual movements and things that matter. But remove the individual person from it.
I agree with that. And I also agree with exercising restraint.
Yeah.
It feels like something we don't have anymore. And it's always one side or another. There's no middle ground of, well, you know what, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm just going to sit this one out, actually.
But no one's going to sit it out, because I think people are doing this because they want attention.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, even celebrities, a lot of these people are apologizing now, but they got famous making a lot of these opinions, right? And going online and being very bombastic with their opinions and being very loud.
Yeah.
You know, so I think what it is a lot of people just want to be heard, and the person who's very even-keeled and comes in with a logical argument doesn't get heard. The person who said something really outrageous gets hurt. Well, it's true. Even in our comments, right?
Yes.
You could have 10 people tell you how fantastic you look, and then the person who said something really nasty to you, that's the thing that got your attention. That's the thing that hurt.
Right.
And I even go on some posts now that are like really popular, and you'll see it's almost like people are competing in the comment section to get so many likes, and it's always the nastiest one the race to the bottom, or someone who can make everybody laugh. It's trying to get attention, and then they feel they had their 15 seconds of fame, not even 15 minutes. They're 15 seconds because today everybody liked my comment in this post on this famous person's account. Do you know what I mean? Like,
two things I'll say about that. Number one, you're absolutely right. People need to be heard, and I think that's where the vitriol comes from. I'm so angry, and now I have a way to be angry publicly.
Yes.
People can see, the celebrity can see, people can see how angry I am, and they go to town. The second thing I will say is we all have to have an understanding of how social media works. It's what you said. It works in a way that is toxic. So now there's this thing they call ratio. My kids are like, if your comment gets more likes than the actual post got, it's a pat on the back.
yes.
So this is the way the social media apps work, to create toxicity, to reward you for toxicity. we can't be pawns in that.
No.
Right?
And I mean, I think that also we don't all have to have an opinion about something.
We don't.
Like, what happened to the day of like, oh, I didn't even hear about that.
Right. and I don't actually care.
Yeah.
Or I care, but I don't have an opinion that is fine-tuned enough to put it anywhere. It'll just rest in my head until the news cycle moves on.
But don't you think it's because we came from an era where we all watched all these people on TV and they're the only ones who had a voice?
Yes.
And you're at home yelling at, like, saying your opinion. I was one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm yelling at the TV, like, say this, and now I can.
Yeah.
But I
you know, and so
there's the herd part of it. I get it, but I also think that there is something to be said for what Tara said, taking a break and practicing restraint. The restraint I have to show, and I'm not a big C celebrity, the restraint I have to show in my own page on my own comments is Herculean. I cannot get at every single person that comes at me in my comments, and that is me choosing to take the high road every single time.
Yeah.
So it's a choice that you can make.
Yeah, you
right?
can make that choice. I also just think, like, I grew up in a time when, dag nabbit, when, you know, it was the Perez Hiltons, and it was abject cruelty.
Yep.
You know, he was responsible for really impacting people's mental health in such a terrible way. And we can talk about this as like, oh, they're just celebrities, or I'm just talking about an outfit, or way more important things.
Yeah.
But these people do see that. So not only are people being heard, people need to realize you're not sitting around chatting with your girlfriends and saying these things. You're putting these comments on another human being's public page.
But I'm going to tell you, a lot of times people don't realize that the person whose account it is actually reading that.
Yeah.
Like, I know people have written me things, and I'm nowhere near, you know, the fame that some people have. And when I respond, you can tell they're shocked that, oh, you read that? And it's like, well, of course I read it. You tagged me in it. You made sure I saw it. You tagged me in it. But you can tell they're still surprised that you read it and that you're responding to it. So I think people sometimes just can't compute that they're actually, the person's reading that, and that it could hurt their feelings.
And
Totally.
it hurts.
And it hurts, and that's the point. Stop hurting each other.
Yeah.
Get your point across, but it doesn't need to hurt other people. That's it. That's all the time we have. Thank you to these two ladies.